nationalizing all of the industries, and that would be more akin to socialism than just having strong safety nets.
No, I think mixed economies are the norm throughout the world. It's just a question of where you like pull the dials. I think a lot of the left-right discussion is ridiculous because you're just talking about where you're going to set a dial, and it's not that big a deal. You can just change it.
Okay.
Mostly, it's being done to a few people, but
Well, let me now
regardless-
ask and make sure I got your system correct. Are you basically for the status quo then?
Well, again, it depends on what particular portion of the status quo.
Well,
you're
here,
talking
let's go
about.
through the status quo. The status quo is you want there to be, you want universal suffrage to stay basically exactly where it is, right? Is that
Yeah,
right?
I don't have a problem with the voting rights. in
And
that.
you want the amendments to basically stay right where they are.
I mean, there are amendments that I think might be made better. So I'm not saying that
But you want them to at least stay intact.
No, not all of them.
Which one do you not want to stay intact?
I think you could certainly update the second with new language.
Okay, so you just remove the Second Amendment, any other amendments?
I mean, I don't have a coherent theory of government that I'm defending here. I'm just going.
Well, I'm not
against what
I'm not asking for a coherent theory of governance here. I'm just asking, I just want to make sure that when you're debating this, are you debating this from the position that the status quo is better?
Oh, yes, the status quo is definitely better than Christian nationalism.
Okay, so the status quo is definitely better. Okay, got it. So the status quo then is basically what you're defending against Christian nationalism.
Yeah, the American settlement. Yeah,
Okay.
the settlement in which we saw what happened in the English Civil War, and we said we don't want one group of faith patrons to take control of armies and fight with other faith people.
Now help me out.
And that failed.
Yeah, I understand.
That failed.
I understand
We ended up
the
having
historic. I understand the
a
historic.
quasi-religious
prism.
war in the Civil War.
Yeah, I understand the historic prism, but help me out here just to understand a couple other things. Would you want you would want witchcraft and Satanism and these things to be protected under the Constitution, correct?
I mean, I would protect plural religious beliefs, whatever those religious beliefs
So
were,
witchcraft
as long
and
as they
Satanism,
do not harm other people.
right? Exactly, and that's what we're getting to. So witchcraft and Satanism, you would want protected as long as you're not harming other people.
Any religion. Sure.
Okay, so that when the Church of Satan comes out and says that specifically they want to protect Roe v. Wade as a ruling, right? You would have to concede that Christians believe overwhelmingly that they're supporting mass murder, right?
Oh, I don't think.
I'm
that's
not
a
asking
Christian
if it's
belief.
true. I'm not asking if their belief is
No, I don't even know if
justified.
I don't know if it's an overwhelming majority of Christians.
You don't think so?
I'm not 100% sure on the sociology of it. There's certainly many devout, faithful Christians who don't support
Abortion.
Roe v.
Hi,
Wade
Angelo.
being overturned.
No, there's
There
not.
has been.
Not really. There's most of the traditional
There
Christians.
are religious hospitals that
Most of
prior to
the traditional
overturning
Christian
still
churches
procedure.
do, but if you wanted a complete breakdown, we can actually pull one up. But the whole point here is to ask you this: if it's the belief of a mass of Christians, let's just say it's not even the majority, it's like 49%, right?
Sure.
That is mass murder, right? Would they then have moral obligations to stop that mass murder? From their view.
I mean, if you're saying that if people think something is bad, they should try to stop it, of course.
And so if they say, well, there's certain ideologies which lead towards this idea of abortion, why wouldn't they be resisting those ideologies? Why wouldn't they? Of course they would. So the idea here that Christians are trying to get other Christians in the positions of power and are even willing to erode these various systems,
What's up, Chris?
we kind of have to, because you want to utilize these systems in order to protect abortion rights, the status quo, right?
Who are the people who aren't Christian that were in power?
What do you mean? Yeah, oh, the
You're
entirety.
talking like
the
there's
entirety.
country that doesn't have any
yeah.
Christians in power.
Well, there's
Who
four.
are those people
yes.
that are not Christian?
Well, I would argue that there's a fourth branch of government, or possibly even a fifth. Some people refer to the media as the fourth branch of government. I've never really thought so. I've always thought that the fourth branch is the lobbyist and the NGOs. That
So it's
those,
like a group of elites who are controlling.
no, it's not even a group of
Just-
elites. It's just corporate interests.
I
So
agree.
you agree with me that it's documented that there's hundreds and hundreds of NGOs which have assisted with abortion rights advocacy in the United States. That's not even in question, right?
I think there's hundreds of NGOs on most sides of most issues.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. So it's
Certainly.
not, that's not
The more
even,
contentious, the more NGOs.
so that's not
are.
even in question. And that many of them are millionaires and billionaires, as Bernie Sanders, which are millionaires and billionaires, right?
There are billionaires and billionaires on either side of each.
Totally, I totally agree. But the point here is that that's why I said some elites, right? If it's the case that you have a mass majority, or not even a mass majority, but a mass of people, right, who are funding abortion advocacy, and you're saying, no, the status quo is better. This is why I said in my opening statement, better for who? You say it would be the best thing for Christians. Remember, this is what you said in your opening statement. What you're here to
absolutely.
defend is that it's actually best for Christians. Can you explain to me, sir, how it would be best for Christians, from their
What's
view,
up, Ash?
to have abortion rights on demand for women? How would that be better for Christians? How?
Well, let's not talk about abortion.
We're
about
not
Christian
talking
nationalism.
about abortion. We're talking about your claim, and your claim is Christian nationalism will be bad for Christians themselves.
Yeah, it
So,
absolutely will.
and then you say the status quo is superior to Christian nationalism. So then you would need to defend why it is in the status quo of you wanting there to be abortion rights on demand. How would that actually be better for Christians?
Well, okay, let's just look at Ireland, right? So we can look at Ireland in the 20th century. It's a Christian nationalist country. It absolutely had church control of these sorts of things, and abortion was outlawed. And what you got were these residential homes where these women who couldn't get abortions were going. They were massively abused by the Catholic Church. They were subjected to all kinds of abuse, all the ones I want to mention. And their children were sometimes died out of neglect and buried on site without any kind of knowledge of the state.
And how did abortion?
And
How did abortion?
that was because there was not a way for women who wanted to terminate a pregnancy to get that done legally and safely.
Wait, how many cases of this
And
do you
that's
think
the
there
concept
were?
of Christian nationalism.
How many cases of this do you think there were? Of
The
women who
Magdalene
were,
homes? The Magdalene homes
of
are
women,
national.
hang on,
legal
of
right now.
women who were not able to get abortions who wanted them. They wanted them. You would have
In
to define
Ireland?
that, yeah.
That's why the Magdalene homes existed.
But because they couldn't get
Illegal
abortions?
in the entire country.
And do you think that the Christians would have supported you putting in rigorous abortion rights for women? On-demand
Well, the Irish
abortion?
did put in rigorous abortion rights.
The Irish government did, pushed by
Yeah.
secularists, that's true.
Wait, the Irish government is, as far as I know, run by Catholics.
Pushed by secularists, though. That's why I reference
No,
NGOs,
pushed by
and special
people who
interest
have beliefs
groups.
about the abortion issue, which is irrelevant to Christianity.
No, it's not irrelevant. Let's point this out.
There's nothing in the Bible
Tell
about
me,
abortion.
Indy, right
you wanna
now,
talk
we're
about the
talking-
Bible's stance
yeah.
on abortion?
Let's talk specifically about no, it's irrelevant. Remember, whether it's true or not.
Okay, it is
Hang on,
irrelevant. I
whether,
agree. So
wait,
what
stop,
about
stop,
Christian
stop.
nationalism?
Listen to what I'm saying. Whether it's true or not, you said in your opening, and I agreed with you, whether Christianity is true or not is not what's relevant here.
Yeah.
What's
right.
relevant here is on what people perceive as better outcomes for themselves based on
Correct.
government design. What you haven't explained to me here in the United States is why it is that Christians would want to say to you, okay, let's keep the status quo in place if Christian nationalism assured that 600,000 babies a year, by their view, weren't being smited in the womb. Why would they prefer
Yeah,
the
sure.
status quo? Why?
So do you know what that number was in 1967?
No, what was it?
It was 800,000.
Okay.
That was before Roe v. Wade.
You know what the birth rate was in 1960s? There was a lot more to abort. So the point is like, when we're looking at this.
Actually, the abortion rate
Yeah.
per pregnancy was higher in 1967 than it is now.
Right.
And that was when it was illegal
No
nationwide.
relevancy whatsoever to you explaining to me how it is that Christians would want to enforce your ideology of the status quo if it's the case that Christian nationalism is promising them an abolishment to abortion, which is the issue of their
Again,
time.
the abortion issue is a single issue that can be handled through normal political means and has been handled. in a way that I don't support
It hasn't.
through normal political means.
It hasn't been handled through normal political means.
Yeah,
What's
Supreme
happened?
Court overturned
No,
Roe v.
what
Wade.
Christians
Isn't that
want
something
is they
you're
want a
about?
constitutional amendment that you cannot get an abortion. Yeah, maybe they can compromise on exemptions for specific things, but that's what they actually want, is that. And if they can't get that through normal means, and they're assured that they will get that through other
Who are they
means
that
of
you're
Christian
talking about?
nationalism, Christians.
So you think Christians right now want a constitutional amendment to do what?
I think that they would institute a constitution, if they could, they would put in a constitutional amendment to outlaw abortion.
Well, they can.
They can't.
Because of course,
They
the
can't.
amendment process still works,
Yeah, but
right?
they don't have the
You
numbers.
just need 2/3.
They don't have the
both
numbers.
houses and 3/4 of the states.
Yeah, they don't have the
So what
numbers.
we're saying is they can't.
Yeah, that's my point. They can't.
Yeah, so they can't.
Mhm.
So that's just normal politics.
Yeah, so what? That's my whole point. Even if it's normal politics, if it's the case that they used abnormal politics, let's say, and were
So
able
you're
to
saying you want
get,
an authoritarian who will ride roughshod
I'm asking,
over the American
I'm not,
system
that's
to
irrelevant.
get his way.
Totally irrelevant. You have to explain to me why Christians, because you say this is better for Christians, remember this.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, then explain to me what a Christian wouldn't give up for life and liberty to save 600,000
Right.
babies per year. What?
Okay, so yeah, life and liberty. In 1838,
Mhm.
people who identify as Christians were being targeted for extermination in the United States. That's life and liberty, dude.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that last part again?
In 1838,
Mhm.
people who identify as Christians
Yeah.
were being targeted for extermination with a kill on sight order in the United States because of their religious
You
beliefs.
mean Mormon
That is
terrorists?
life and liberty.
Mormon terrorists? Is that what you're talking about?
People who identify as
Yeah,
Christians.
Mormon terrorist is what you're referencing.
If that's your call,
Because
that's
that's
your
what they
call.
were. They were Mormon terrorists, and that's why
So
they were
do you-
driven out. Like you leave
So
that one
under
part
your
of it out.
Christian nationalism, that would be legal, right?
It's legal right now under all forms of nationalism to on-site kill terrorists. Right here in the United States, right now under your democracy, under your status quo, Barack Obama could shoot and did a missile and kill a United States citizen.
Okay,
Because he
no,
was
the
a fucking terrorist,
extermination-
bro.
if you think the extermination order just said terrorists or combatants, that's incorrect. It was all members of the faith.
Oh, wait a second. Do you understand, right, that because maybe they use different linguistic models there, but right this second, if Mormons were labeled terrorists in the United States, if they were labeled terrorists officially by the United States government, the United States government has the ability, under current U.S. law, to shoot a missile into their house and blow them up. You realize
Okay.
that, right? Hang on. Do you realize that?
I do think that those laws may be on the books. Is that happening?
Yes, it has happened. They have launched
Okay.
missiles and killed U.S. citizens.
In their home?
Yes, well, if they're living abroad, yes, they've done it.
Oh, you mean living abroad, not
They're
in the United
U.S. Do U.S. citizens U.S. citizens
Yeah,
supposed to
you're
have the
living abroad.
right?
Absolutely.
Are
Yes,
they?
I'm aware
Do
that
they have the
you're
right to
with that.
due
Yeah.
process? Yes, they do.
Yeah,
But
I
if they're
mean,
labeled as terrorists, we can kill them right this second.
Yeah. Again, that's a normal political problem. That has nothing to do with Christians.
It's not
That's
a
nothing to
normal.
do with
Listen,
Christian national.
but you're saying that the status quo is better. The status quo is better. And
I
then
didn't say I endorsed the entire status quo.
They
I
could
said I
label.
endorsed the status quo
But
as
when
a
you say-
regard to
but when you
religious
say-
pluralism
hang on,
in the
dude,
United
when you
States.
say, hey, they could have labeled an entire group and killed them before, they could label an entire group and kill them now under the
Okay,
status
no,
quo.
they could not. No, they could not. They could not identify all Mormons, even 12-year-old kids who just got baptized and just got their first priesthood.
Didn't they just
as terrorists
identify?
and start killing them.
Did they
could
just
not do
identify
that.
all Antifa as being terrorists?
So do you think that there are like 12-year-old kids who say I'm Antifa and then people are going and shooting them?
Whether they are or not doesn't mean that they couldn't under the law. The case
Okay.
of the matter is that under the law, if you are a suspected terrorist member of Al Qaeda and a U.S. citizen, yes, they can kill you under the Patriot Act. That's correct.
Yeah. I completely agree that may
Yeah.
very
So
well be the law.
you are not. Your bumpers here are not even protecting us from the thing you claim you would actually protect us from. If secularists got into office and labeled some Christian sect terrorists, right? The federal government, under their rule right now, would actually have the ability to fucking kill them, right?
Now, what if an
Hang on, answer my
authoritarian
question,
got in
answer my
power?
question, answer my question. Right this second, if
Yeah,
secularists,
the way the terror laws are written
yeah,
is hugely problematic. And even
so what the
very
fuck you
definition
protecting
of
us from then, bro? What are you protecting
what's
us
protecting
from?
us right now is that nobody has thought to do that.
Oh, but when they do, when they get
Instantly.
around to it.
But Andrew,
Yeah,
so you agree that terrorism should be defined more clearly and that it should include all
it's
violent
not
people, whether they're
relevant. What's
Christian or not,
relevant
right?
is the thing you're pointing
You
to.
agree that there are Christian
Not
terrorists
relevant. What's
who
relevant?
commit terroristic acts
What's relevant?
who should be able to be killed on sight.
Irrelevant. What's relevant is that the very guardrails you claim would protect us from the evil Christian nationalists who could then go after this group they don't like, that they allocated group bad. Under the law, the secularists, right this second, under your guardrails, do the exact fucking same thing.
Secularists.
Yes, it's a
Who are the
you
secularists?
claim that, I'm sorry, do you claim that the United States is a secular nation?
I claim the United States has always practiced religious pluralism and is a majority Christian nation.
Is it a secular nation? Under the law?
It's religiously plural.
Is there a separation from church and state?
Yeah, there's a separation of
That's,
church and
well,
state.
what do you
Correct.
think secularism means?
Well, a secular nation would be a nation that's actively anti-theist, like the communists.
I don't think that that's the case. Can we get a definition of secularism to make sure?
Secular would be no favored religion, if you want to see it that
Yeah,
way.
I think, so if that's the case, then under secular rule,
So Donald Trump is secular.
under secular rule, he's in a more secular office, yeah. But the
So
thing
he's a
is,
secularist, right?
well, no, I didn't say he's a secularist.
Was Joe Biden
Do you
a
understand? Do you
secularist?
understand the distinction? Like, if it's the case that you're in an office, you can be in an office which is secular. That doesn't mean you personally believe in secularism. That's not the
Okay.
case.
So
But now,
who are
hang
the
on.
secular
I'm pointing
presidents?
this out. I'm pointing this out. Inside of what you believe to be the secular United States, the very same bumper that's on it, which would prevent quote targeting of American citizens, right? We already have under that secular framework. You haven't protected us from that.
The 14th Amendment is the amendment that protects people from that.
But it doesn't, because they could be allocated as terrorists and you can launch a missile up their asshole.
Okay, so do you understand that there's a public outcry when the government oversteps its authority? Have you ever heard of that
There's
happening?
public outcry when monarchs overstep their authority. There's
Yeah,
public
yeah,
outcry
exactly.
when anybody does this. That would be the same
Correct.
thing in a Christian nationalist state.
So no. So this is what I'm trying to get. It sounds like you're just talking about normal political conflicts. You're talking about problems with terrorism. You're talking about problems with abortion.
No,
What
I'm not.
trying to
I'm,
find
what I'm
out-
showing is that under a secular framework, the things which you claim what protect Christians and are the best for Christians
Just watching a debate right now. It's kind of boring though. What y'all up to?
because, and then you cite a historic example of persecution of a group. That secular framework has not saved us from that happening. That can happen.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't save the Fancher Party when they came through Utah. That's correct.
It's not saving anybody from nothing. So the question is like, my
No,
question
it
to
does-
you.
it-
my
You know
que-
what it saves?
What does it
It
save?
saves people who want to show up and redress their government and have grievances and belong to a protected
That's
group.
what the Second Amendment
They-
that you want to abolish is for, actually.
No, the 14th Amendment is what
No,
does
that
that.
Second Amendment is the ultimate safeguard.
We
for that.
already know that carrying a gun to a protest is a good way to get killed.
Yeah, we also know
No.
that carrying a gun to a revolution is a way to form a country.
So wait, so that's what I'm wondering. Are you promoting a revolution? Because you have no chance of repealing the 19th Amendment. You have no chance of repealing the 14th.
And we had no chance of repealing Roe v. Wade, right? The thing is that through the powers of persuasion, that just as communists came in and over many generations were able to persuade people towards different forms of governance and different ideas, so I think Christians can do exactly the same. And I think that we can
Where are you
also
putting
elect
the communists?
politicians which will erode these various things. Oh, well, what do you mean, man? When communists in academia, that's not even a question. That's not even,
You're
is that
talking
even in
about
question?
communists in academia?
Yeah, of course.
You think that the majority of academia is Marxist?
Not Marxist anymore, but I think that Marxists began the process of mass progressivism inside of academia. Yes, I do. And I think that not only that, I think it's easy to track. And when you look at think tanks who work with these NGOs, the heads of them are most often progressives. And they utilize college campuses as a recruiting ground.
Wait.
How can
Do
I
you
prove
know there are
that? Because
progressive
that's why they
Christians?
killed Charlie Kirk. That's why the progressives, or this
Wait.
progressive killed Charlie Kirk, is because he was having such an influence on college campuses.
He was a Christian.
Oh, yeah, he was a Christian. Okay.
Yeah,
Weren't you raised a Christian?
I was.
Then you're a Christian.
No, I
No,
specifically disavowed my
I see.
Christianity.
So if the guy, so just because the guy was raised by Christians doesn't make him a Christian? Got it.
I don't think there's been any claim that he disavowed his childhood faith that I've seen from anything. It's
Except
possible
he
that
went
had.
and murdered somebody in cold blood, which is against Christian ethics.
Whoa, have you read the story of Yael and Sisera in the Bible?
Is modern? Can you show me an actual
Have you read the
mainstream?
story of
Can you
Ananias and
show me?
Sapphira
Can
in the
you
Bible?
show me a modern Christian church, a serious modern Christian church, which is advocating that you can just go and murder people? Any?
You mean right now?
Yeah, right now.
The church
None.
in Uganda that support killing
That's
gays.
not, no, that's not a, when we're talking about a modern, I'm talking about the United States. Show me in the United States, the country which we're talking about, any mainstream Christian church which is advocating for the
If you're going to say
murder.
mainstream, if you're going to say mainstream, then of course.
Of course, well,
you
I can't say mainstream academics either, right? But I can point to fringe groups, and then you would say, but they're
No,
fringe.
Andrew, I'm not here to defend academia. I just thought there was a country where Marxists had done a generations-long indoctrination strategy, and they didn't know you were talking about universities. You know that a lot of universities are Christian and operated by Christians, right? Like Notre Dame, do you think Notre Dame has been taken over by Marxists?
Yeah, it definitely. Notre Dame
Okay.
definitely has massive socialist influence
And
inside
how
of
about
it.
the Catholic Church in general? Would you say the Catholic Church?
I would
is
say
taken
that the
over by
Catholic Church
Marxists?
has a huge problem with progressive ideology, which came from Marxists
Okay.
as well, yeah.
So what would have protected the Catholic Church?
Rigorism, like what Orthodoxy has, because they hate communists, and the reason they hate communists is because of their direct persecution by communists.
So, okay, so the Orthodox Church
Mhm.
was specifically built to withstand like these
No, it wasn't built. No,
like,
it wasn't built specifically.
Marxist things.
Not built specifically to withstand it, but a byproduct of the rigorism is that it is able to.
And do you follow the Orthodox apostolic tradition? Like,
Yeah.
do you think it's correct?
I do.
And do you think it's instituted by God through the apostolic tradition?
I do.
Okay. And so if the Orthodox Church says something is a heresy, then it is a heresy, period, right?
Well, the Orthodox Church doesn't run the same way that you would find in Catholicism with a pope or something like this.
Yeah, that's correct.
They have general consensus based on what their patriarchs say, but patriarchs can be wrong. So there's a structure to all of that, which is somewhat irrelevant to this. What is relevant here and what you've managed to evade, by the way, can you take the super chat down so that you can stop blocking my entire face during this debate? That'd be great. But what is relevant here is you still haven't actually explained to me how it is that Christians would not prefer a move towards Christian nationalism if that would mean that they would be able to stop hundreds of thousands of abortions yearly. Why would they not prefer that again?
Well, first of all, not all Christians think that abortion should be illegal, so I don't think that you've established.
And not all secularists believe that abortion should be illegal?
Absolutely
What's your
correct. That's a
point?
normal political problem.
But it is a
That
minor one.
not
But it
something
is-
that is a
hang on.
Christian versus.
But if I can
non-Christian
demonstrate to you
problem.
that most Christians do want it abolished,
Even if a minor majority wanted it, if it was 65, 70%, that's just a political problem.
well, then
It's just a
isn't
problem
everything just a
to be
political
solved by
problem?
regular politics.
Yeah.
That's not something
Then
that
everything's just a
requires
political
abandonment of
problem.
the American settlement.
Then everything's a
Sure.
political problem. What isn't a political problem? If we had a king, that's just a political problem. Everything's a political
I want to
problem.
get back though.
Hang on,
to
stop. I
Orthodoxy's
want to make sure we got this
protection against
right.
What
I
Catholicism
want to
has
make,
already
that has no bearing on the
suffered.
debate. What specifically here, can you tell me, or please explain to me, what isn't just a political problem then? Isn't everything just a political problem?
A normal political problem.
What's an abnormal
You're talking
political
about things that
problem?
would be revolutionary, like getting rid of the 19th Amendment.
How would that be? The 19th Amendment was revolutionary.
which three quarters of the
Wait a
state
second, wait a
do
second,
you
hang on.
think right
The
now you
19th
would get to
the
sign
nine-
on
the 19th
to
Amendment,
disenfranchising women?
the 19th Amendment was revolutionary. What do you mean?
The 19th Amendment followed many states having already given women suffrage.
No, most of the states, most of the early states, women voted against it. They voted against the right. When they had the right to vote, they voted against the right to vote. That's one.
So you
And
understand
two,
that the 19th
hang on,
Amendment got
What
2/3
side?
of both houses
Yeah,
and
of course.
3/4 of the states, right?
So hang on, it's irrelevant. That part is not the relevant part to what we're discussing. What's relevant
no,
is
it is relevant.
what's relevant here is whether or not it is the case that you say there's normal political problems and then abnormal political problems, and then you say there has to be some sort of thing which is revolutionary. That's
Yeah,
the
it would
problem
be-
I have in the language. Was the 19th Amendment revolutionary?
No, it wasn't. It
Then
wasn't
why would
revolutionary,
taking
it
it
was
away be
evolutionary.
revolutionary? Why would
It
taking
was
it away be
evolutionary
revolutionary?
because you already had states that were granting the franchise to women long before the 19th Amendment, and the 19th Amendment just nationalized a trend
So what?
that had already formed.
Well, why would
There
that
are
be-
no states
Why would it be
right
the
now
case?
that have disenfranchised
So as long
women.
as, so as long
When
as
those
one,
states are not disenfranchising
So as long as
women,
one
that
state-
would be revolutionary.
as long as one
It would be
state-
taking
how?
something that currently exists and removing it.
that's not what something that's revolutionary is. Something that's revolutionary is something that's brand new and it's big
Yeah,
and
that
it's
breaks up the existing
Yeah,
order in
no.
a way that's fundamentally different.
ridiculous. So then any new amendment would be revolutionary.
No, they could be
Why not?
prohibition. Prohibition wasn't
Well,
revolutionary.
and so hang on, but was taking away prohibition revolutionary?
No, neither one were.
Why not?
Because they're not fundamental restructurings of the understanding of the
Prohibition
people and
was
how
a
their
com-
lives were.
Prohibition was a complete restructuring of how people's lives were. When you look at the founding and just the
People
amount
live
of booze,
around alcohol,
yeah, just the amount of booze our founders ordered in when they were drafting the Constitution, it would kill guys like you and I. If we had attended their parties, we would be dead men. And you know this. It completely
the reason-
restructured how
The reason was
American
because
society.
the water was
hang on.
literally
That
lethal back then.
completely restructured how American society was even able to operate. It gave rise to bootleggers, gave rise to the organized mafia. It was a completely revolutionary act. The whole, by your metric, how
Okay.
could that not be? And then,
This is not a discussion of what's a revolution.
no,
This is a discussion of how Christian nationalism
yeah.
would remove the settlement of religious pluralism in the United States.
No,
in
it's
a
not.
way
This is a
that would
question.
be a fundamental break
No.
with the imaging.
It's
of
a
the
question
founding fathers
of what's
how the
best
nation is.
for society, not a question
Is who good?
of how it's going to do X, but whether or not the X thing that it's doing is achieving good things for people. And so the
Right.
question is
So-
like, again, we're going to go back to this. If it's not revolutionary to take away alcohol, and it's not revolutionary to institute a ban on alcohol, then how the hell could it be revolutionary to take away abortion? Many states already restrict it. And by your metric, you say as long as states are already restricting it, so would it be revolutionary for us to completely overturn Roe
I
v.
don't think
Wade?
it would be a revolution one direction or the other
Okay.
what happens with abortion. But very, very importantly, there will never be no abortions, there will never be no sex work. Those things happen in every society.
So what?
They've happened since
So to
the dawn
murder,
of
so
time.
to murder. We'll make no laws against murder because they happen in every
No,
society.
I-
Silly.
Again, there's clearly laws against murder and there are clearly
Yeah,
murders. The
exactly.
question is how you will deal with those legally and whether you
Yeah.
have the
Do
political
you,
will
well, do you agree with
to get
me?
your coalition on board.
Yeah,
to get it
exactly.
done.
Do you agree with me that the abolishment of murder, saying that murder is a crime, acts as a deterrent?
Well, there's no federal mandate about how states have to treat murder. States' murder laws come from the
The
common
feds
law.
have their own mandates for how they treat
Yeah,
murder.
there's a federal murder law.
Yeah, but
that
that's
applies
because of
to
a
certain federal
separation,
statutes.
that's because of the separation of powers via the 10th Amendment. But the thing
Right.
is that the states, they do have to adhere to rigorism between interstate, right? That is actually
Yeah,
covered.
they have to follow due
Yeah.
process. Which
So-
is what the 14th
Yeah,
Amendment.
so the
gives
thing is like, look, as you look at this, it's very simple for me to see. You agree with me that murder laws are a great deterrent. They have to act as a deterrent. If you made murder
Oh,
legal
I-
tomorrow, a lot more people would get murdered, right?
No, I don't see them as a huge deterrent. They're a deterrent, but I don't see them as a huge
Do you
deterrent.
think if we legalized murder tomorrow?
Most people who kill people do it for reasons that don't have anything to do with whether it's legal or not.
So if we said you can kill anybody you want for any reason you want, you don't think that people would just start killing each other?
No, I don't.
So then why have the law at all?
Again, look, the murder rates drop when you get a civilization, right? But when we look at countries or places where there's like no enforcement and there's no law that has
Where?
the ability to enforce
Yeah,
that,
where's there
it's
no
not like everybody
enforcement?
murders everybody.
Where's the enforcement? Where's there a place where there's no enforcement of law? Even at a
In
tribal
hunter-gatherer
level.
societies.
Yes, they had enforcement of law. Of course they did. They had lawgivers.
So no, hunter-gatherer societies don't have lawgivers, they don't have laws because they don't have writing.
Okay, first of all, you don't need writing in order to have laws. You can have oral laws and oral traditions, and hunter-gatherer societies did have oral laws, oral traditions. Otherwise, they couldn't have communicated at all. They wouldn't have had rules for
They had
anything.
language, if that's
Yes,
what
of
you're gonna
course,
say
and
is
not
oral
just
law.
that. The idea here, it's absurd to me for you to think that even if I granted this, even if I grant, okay, you're
You
right,
think our species
hunter-gatherers.
got through where everybody was just trying to kill everybody all the time?
I think that if you removed a penalty, any sort of penalty for killing people in the United States, you would wake up tomorrow and there'd be a lot of dead people.
There would be more murders.
No,
if
no,
it
no,
became legal, But I
significantly.
don't think that it would be a war of all against all.
I
because
didn't say
nobody
all
knows who
against
are.
all. What I'm saying is that it would increase so drastically, so fucking quickly, that it would be like you would.
I
think you
don't
would be
want to run the
stonewalled.
counterfactual or do the experiment if that's what you're asking. I think it's a very bad idea to make murder legal. I'm not
Why
in favor
though?
of that.
Because it's a deterrent, right?
But I do think that people make calculations about what they're going to do, often completely irrelevant to what's on the actual
But wait,
law
it's
book,
because it's a deterrent.
especially if they are emotional
Yeah,
about
but
it.
it's because it's a deterrent, right?
Well, I grant that it's a somewhat of a deterrent.
Not somewhat. It's a massive deterrent.
Okay, well, that's not our topic.
The reason
the
that this
topic
ties
is-
in, though, is because when we're talking about law, you seem to just be saying, well, wait a second, Andrew, here's the thing. Even if you get rid of abortion, there's still going to be abortions. I can grant that that's true. But to
Yeah.
tell me that there won't be a significant drop
Well,
due
I
to
don't
the
know that there
deterrent
will be.
is wild. That's wild to me. Not only
Well, I
that,
just gave you the numbers. There were 800,000 abortions a year in 1967.
okay,
That's with a population that was probably
Let
60 or
us-
70 million smaller.
yeah, let us take a look. 1967. How many abortions are you claiming there were?
Between 600 and 800,000 is the best estimates.
Okay. And why? What's your reasoning for why?
My reasoning for why is
Mhm.
because there was less contraception at that time. Contraception was less effective, and so there were
Not
more-
because there was a significant legal shift in the Abortion Act in 1967 in Great Britain, which legalized it up to 24 weeks. That's not
in
why.
Great Britain. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about Great Britain. I'm talking about the United States.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Great Britain here. No?
No, I'm talking about before Roe v. Wade in the United States.
Gotcha. Sorry. So let me make sure here. Abortions, United States. Okay. Do. I actually cannot find these numbers.
Well,
Where can I find? Where can I find?
This is not the issue I'm here
Hang
to
on, hang on.
debate,
Where can
by
I
the way.
find? Where can I find these numbers?
They're broadly estimated by scholars who study this issue. I don't want to get off track on that.
Yeah, I
wanna
thought
talk
you
about
must have been
Christian
talking about Great Britain because that seemed to be numbers which correlate with that. But
I'm not talking about Great Britain. I'm talking about the United States.
okay,
But this is not the issue that I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about how you prevent Christian on Christian violence in a Christian nationalist state, which is the problem that the English Civil War
oh, I
highlighted,
see. Hang
right?
on, got it. All right, now I understand. Planned Parenthood put out these fake numbers. So here it is. In 1967, the reported number of legal abortions was very low. Very low due to strict
Yeah,
laws.
legal,
but
of course,
estimated rates.
because they were illegal.
Stop. Estimated rates of illegal abortions were high, ranging from 200,000 to 1.2 million. That's what you're referencing, right? Combined
If
abortion
you're talking
rates.
about the Guttmacher Institute numbers, that's typically what I've seen reported, yes.
Yes. And where did those reports come from? Do you know?
I don't I'm not an academic specialist on this, and I don't think that it's really germane to our topic. Whereas what is germane to our
Oh,
topic is
man.
the three main strands of Christian nationalism in the United States.
Mhm.
So the three main strands are
It's not three main
Catholic
strands
integral-
of Christian
Catholic
nationalism.
integrationism, there's New Apostolic Reformation, and there's the Doug Wilson, Moscow, Idaho Christian Nationalist group that's associated with Pete Hegseth.
There's
Now, they are
multitudes.
very-
There's multitudes of movements towards
Those are the three largest
ideals
ones.
of Christian nationalism.
They are very, very
Well, you're
different,
debating
right?
my ideals for it, not theirs.
Yeah, they're very, very different though.
Yes.
So if there was a Christian nationalist government, do you think that there would not be disputes among Christians about which Christian group was correct?
Of course.
You think there would not be that?
No, I think there would be, of course.
There would be. And
Yeah.
what would prevent them from becoming bloody?
Well, what would prevent them would be the same thing which has always prevented them. You have the same problem. This criticism is a similar problem from you. Do you agree with me that there's tons of different ideologies in the United States right this second who are all competing for power? Do you agree that that's true?
I mean, there are political blocs that want specific things done.
So
of
why aren't they
government
out there
for
just
power.
killing each other, even though they completely disagree with each other? Even though they're vying for power? Why?
Well, because if they're using normal political means, then they're just saying, we have an opinion, that opinion comes from us, we hold this opinion because it's important to us personally,
I see.
and we want to disagree with you about this.
So-
They're not saying, I'm getting a divine beaming of knowledge into my head.
Yeah, I know.
about
They're just
the
saying
universe.
instead, I just made
Which
it.
is the orthodox.
I'm just talking about my preferences. I just prefer this. That's what they're talking about instead.
Okay, but Christians don't do that.
Yeah, they don't
That's
need.
not-
Yeah, but the thing is like, why is it that you think that secularists who vie for power, right, inside of the United States, or atheists who vie for power in the United States, also, if you had a removal of Christianity, wouldn't run into the same exact issue? Well, all that is required is that people.
That's why I'm
is that
saying the
people move
government
into
shouldn't be
power.
religious.
Yeah, but it wouldn't matter. It's not
That's
going to
so
prevent
good.
this idea of distinct ideologies warring for which one's the best. Or would Christians and Christian nationalism fight endlessly amongst each other for who is the best Christian denomination? Yeah, probably. They fight about that right this second. But every ideology is always fighting every other ideology about which one's the best and deserves to be in power, and they're all willing to use violence
son?
for it to one degree or another, depending on.
Are you winning, son? Do you stone and listen to politics? I'm kidding. Stone? I'm listening to a debate right now.
Do you still back them up?
I mean, there's various levels of backing a given candidate
Sure.
or a given issue.
I agree, but you
And
would.
point of
I would agree
moderation.
that somebody completely agreed with me and I backed them fully, I
Yeah.
would back them more.
But broadly,
To
you
just
would.
agree that they're the better of two
Yeah.
evils, I would just vote for them.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's the whole point.
That's
That's,
all just normal
that's
politics.
my
That doesn't
whole-
require a
everything's just
fusion
normal
of
politics.
the co-
Yeah, smoke sometimes. Good stuff, bro. I'm about to smoke a bowl right now, I think.
country with a religious identity.
Bro, everything's just normal politics according to you. When we get to what's revolutionary, what's
No,
not,
no, no.
you can't even make
Choosing
up
the
your
United
mind.
States
All right, y'all,
identity
just
with
one
the
moment,
Christian
point of
religion is not
moderation,
normal
please.
politics.
So we've completed the first hour. Right now, we've got 44 additional minutes, so I'll be starting the timer. Feel free to open up keep it around the main topic, but feel free to open it up a little bit more and get a little bit more broad with the discussion. We've got 44 minutes starting now.
Okay, let me start with a
Yeah,
different.
it's on.
Let me try a different line of questioning, and then maybe we can try it this way. By the way, Kurt, you've been very good faith this debate. You actually have, and I'm actually that.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the conversation.
Yeah, that impresses me because most people aren't. So I'm willing to make a deal with you. If you give me the first 20 minutes, I'll give you the second 20 minutes.
What?
Sure.
That sound fair? All right.
Sounds good.
So let's start with
that?
this.
20
And
minutes?
under your view, would you agree with me broadly that people who hold your ideology, you just basically, you want people in charge who, in some way, shape, or form, represent your preferences, right?
I'm just gonna basically answer yes.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. right? From the viewpoint that you have, Christians also, would you agree that they want people in charge who represent their interests? And so,
Individual Christian, sure.
yeah, well, even collectively we do.
No, I don't think you can say anything about Christianity collectively.
Well, not monolithically, but
There's
collectively.
no monolith at all.
Yeah, I'm not saying monolithically, but
I
collectively.
need some more
There's
food.
different collections of people. For instance, Catholics, I would say there's at least something to be said for a collective there. There's disagreement too, I agree. But there's a collectivization which happens with that, and blocks are formed based on power structures of people who are in agreement with each other, right? That would be collectivization. Yeah, so they're collectivizing.
That's normal politics.
And they're
like we're talking.
collectivizing to have their interests represented, right?
Sure.
So inside of it-
again,
So inside of a
You can
democracy,
and not be part of a group at all.
yeah, sure. So
You can also be
inside
part of a group.
of a democracy, something that has universal suffrage, if I'm able to convince enough people to agree with my view, and we simply go in there and vote out democracy, we're not actually, all we're doing is what's in our represented interest from our view, right? That the thing that aligns with our preference, right?
As long as there's no seizing power, as long as it's done under the rules, as long as there's no authoritarian intimidation and like violation of the existing rules at the time, that's how politics is supposed to
Yeah,
happen.
so if I was able to collectivize enough people to vote out democracy, you would not object to that.
I mean, I would object to it to the degree that I would not be in favor of those people.
Right.
But if that is what took place, that would be what took place. and
Would you be
that would
willing,
not-
would you be willing to, if that was something which was going to happen, they were gonna vote in a strong man and get rid of democracy, that was actually on the ballot, and they used their Democrat vote to do that, would you resist that?
No, I probably emigrate.
So you would flee?
No, I wouldn't flee, I would emigrate.
What do you mean? Where?